January light is thin and quick to fade up here in the northeast, so midweek we make ourselves get on where we can with a job and night that's worth its weight in gold by the weekend, both practically and in your head. Common sense wins over romance at this time of the year. With wellies for mud, the steady work is done properly. There's comfort in coming home to our own food at the end of the day, and in knowing that the animals will always set the pace whether we're ready for it and can be bothered or not. We're looking forward to the long summer evenings, but January definitely has its own place too, and we're making the most of the days that we have. Starting off on Saturday morning once the animals have been done.
Right, welcome back to the Smallholding. It's the third weekend in January 2026 and we've got a lot to achieve this weekend. So we're starting in the farmhouse while it's still getting light outside. So we're going to tackle this half of the fireplace renovation that we're doing. So last weekend we had it all ripped out. We were debating what to do on the floor, so we've decided just to fill it in with concrete and make a concrete half, and then we're going to build on top of that. So while we've got a couple of hours in here, like I say, while it's getting light outside, I borrowed the cement mixer off me next door neighbour. I've got all the stuff, so hopefully that'll only take a couple of hours and then we can get outside and get stuff done.
That it?
Yep.
Perfect.
And you mix it up like, isn't it? Still a lot more.
There? Right, well that's it for that. As you can see, I've done it all by myself with no help from anybody. I'm only kidding. Tracy, well, my father-in-law, my next door neighbour, came around to give us a hand. I'm always dubious about doing something I've never done before the first time, so they just came around to oversee. It's a bit more experience than me, but I think that's turned out spot on. It's nice and smooth, nice and level. So we'll just leave that now for a couple of days till it goes off, and then we'll start on the pillars. So thanks for them for giving us a hand, and then now outside for the donkey work jobs, which I know how to do.
Well, as you can probably hear, it's absolutely peeing it down. It might not look it on the camera, but trust me, it is. And Stephen and I have got a whole load of work planned outside, but as he said earlier, weather permitting, but we still want to make sure that we get plenty done this weekend. So we're going to make a start in the greenhouse, which as you can see is a typical for us winter state of a greenhouse, where it's ended up being storage for some buckets that we're using when the water freezes over and we have to do everything by hand. All of the tomatoes are still in here, and you know, real life in terms of what needs to be done. So at the back of the greenhouse we need to get all of this cleared out. Again, a bit of a dumping ground for certain things. Some experiments that I'd put in to see if they would survive. There were some beans and they didn't survive. The frost took them straight away. Some of the hanging baskets and things that we had in storage. This flower here is a very special flower that I grew from weed seed. Seemed to grow itself. Not real weed, what people are thinking. All of these along here with all the peppers and the cucumbers that have just literally been left at the end of the season. The weeds are starting to come through in the floor. Grace's flowers, she's got some of her tubers in the straw here, and some of the things from seed that she's grown, a lot of calendula and stuff that will be coming on for this year. She's trying to save as much as she can, and we do have a bit of a situation there because Grace wants her own greenhouse because she seems to be taking over this one and has said that there's not enough space, please can I have my own. So we are looking into whether or not we're going to do that, we shall see. Along to the right of Stephen are all the blueberries. There's some have got more work need doing trimming up than the others, but as it stands at the minute I can't even get into them. So we're going to clear all of this, and then at least it'll feel a lot tidier in here and ready for the season ahead, and we can see the wood for the trees, because at the moment we're literally only using this to come in for the water for the animals and nothing else. So as soon as it's nice enough outside, we're going to get out there, looking at the forecast, because we've got so much planned, as always, this year.
Good soil anyway, there's worms on it.
Well, what a difference 50 minutes of teamwork can make. It's absolutely fantastic in here now, and it makes you want to come in when you just want to avoid it normally, because that's how you feel when things get a little bit too much. Well, it certainly is for us anyway. So Stephen has done all of the back in here. It's totally ready for whatever the 10th year of growing for us here on the Smallholding is going to bring. I'm so excited about that. This is 10 years of doing this now, 10 seasons of growing tomatoes, and when you think about it in seasons and you think how many seasons might we have left here, it really motivates you to make the best of it. So we can't wait to see what this year is going to bring. As you can see, or more to the point can't see, the outside windows are absolutely filthy. So our ducks are just on the other side of here. And one of the downfalls of that means that when they're splashing in the water and having the time of their lives, they make it completely filthy, because they're filthy creatures. So not for today, but for another day when spring starts to arrive and we start to need to use the greenhouse, Stephen's going to give this, I'm saying Stephen, we will together, we'll clean the greenhouse and get all of the glass done. I did it last year, but I made such of a mess, and there's electrics in here and stuff that I've been told I'm not allowed to do it on my own, so hence why I was saying Stephen. So in the front we've both done in here as well. There was much more stuff in here to do. All of the pots are underneath, nice out of the way. The staging's cleared up so that you can actually see what you're doing. A couple of bits and pieces that are still with us at the back. The homemade propagator has just got calendula and some cosmos in it, so Grace's flowers. There's no veggies in there at the moment. We're going to do a separate video, by the way, on veggies and what we're getting in. And then all the blueberries. We've got 5 in total, 4 along here, and there's 1 just to the right of me, to the left of you guys. So an absolute huge difference, and even better, it's stopped raining, although it looks like it's still got that hazy mist. So what we're going to do is, instead of trying to tackle everything at once, we're just going to take one bite at a time, and we're going to go and look at, sorry, I'm slightly distracted because Annie's just chased the ducks. We're going to go and look at where our beans were, the bean arch that we've got, where the beans were last year, and we're basically going to take all the beans down and get that cleared. So Steve's going to show you that now.
Right, so like Tracy said, because the weather is on and off, we're just going to tackle little bits at a time. So we'll get this bit done now, because there's not really that much to do. So we grew Greek gigantes up here last year, and they worked out absolutely brilliant. We've got 2 big jars full of them like that, which we've still got in the pantry. So we're going to do exactly the same next year. We built this last year. It's been through a few storms and it's lasted, so don't need anything doing with that. So we'll just strip it out, clean a few of the weeds out of here, out the back one, and then that'll be done, ready for planting. There's more beans there than we've got in the pantry. Right, well, there's another good job finished and tidied up. There's nothing better this time of year than seeing nice, fresh, tidy beds with anticipation for what's going to be growing in them for the year ahead. So we're just going to get on with these 2 beds now, get them all weeded around the little polytunnels there that are up, and then the rain's starting again, so that's probably all we're going to get done in the garden today. Hopefully the rain will pass, because we've got a few more jobs over there to get on with, but we'll see how we go.
We're getting there, we're getting there. We're going to do one more section in a minute, which will show you behind you, but it's not taken too long. So while it's drying, we've got the motivation to do it, we're using it. These beds are now cleared. The reason that there's still things in them is because these are autumn planted greens, so into cabbage and different kales and things like that. There's also some onions that we've clearly missed on harvesting. And if you just want to quickly come down here, these here are the garlic that completely failed last year. So you might remember that we had garlic put in, I think it was in the autumn or the winter rather of the year before, and just didn't show at all. And for whatever reason, it started showing in the autumn of last year. So anyway, we're going to leave those in, and fingers crossed they will turn into something that we can actually use in the kind of the late spring, early summer of this year Down here we've got some red kales in and also some green kale. Some have done better than the others. The tunnels have been an absolute godsend. They were literally those cheap tunnels that people tell you to avoid. Even if we just get a couple of years out of them, to be quite honest, I'm thrilled with that, because the pigeons were just taking everything. So if you want to turn around without falling over, then we're going to go and have a look at these beds behind. So this section from where I'm stood, the bed here, all the way down to the polytunnel, is what we're going to try and get weeded and tidied up essentially. So there's bits and pieces laid around as well, so we're going to get all of that done. Everything in this bed, I mean, it's literally just going to take a minute to take out, because it's dead nettles and just some creeping weeds, just really shallow rooted, and they'll take no time to get to take out. The chickens will be very grateful for them. The leeks, we're going to grab a load of leeks because we've got some things to make with those over the weekend for next week's lunches, and then just weed along this area here. The bed next to that has got some kaolin that got absolutely attacked by butterflies last year and caterpillars. Believe it or not, I've just found a caterpillar on there. I don't know if it's just like died in place, but anyway, that's gone now, so we'll just get tidied up around there. And then the final bed over there has also got some autumn planted greenery in it, which will start coming to life hopefully from March onwards, but it's looking really, really good. So this is what it looks like before. It shouldn't take too long, and the rain's starting to come down again, so fingers crossed it doesn't take too long.
Right, well, we're going to knock off with the veg plot work now. We've done a couple of hours, chuffed to bits with what we've got done, and it looks miles better to what it did when we actually walked in here. So we've got all these 4 beds here done, what you've seen, and then we moved up here. We've got all the weeds took out of this one. We've got some leeks harvested out of this one, all the weeds took out. We've just got to chop the ends off them, take them in the house. We've got the old cabbage and stuff took out of there, fed to the chickens, and the rest of that weeded. And then we've got all in between here weeded. We've tidied everything, all the pots and stuff that was lying all over the place. We've got all them shifted back into the polytunnel. We've got all these beds cleaned out. We've actually got some daffodils coming through already in these 2 grey pots behind me. Got all this tidied up around Grace's flower beds. So chuffed the bits we've got done, a couple of hours. So we're going to call it quits in the veg plot for now, for today anyway, because we've got some animal chores to do, and then I want to get in the field for an hour before we lose light and start a job that was actually on the list for this year. Sheep. Oh, right. We're just finishing off the day. We're just getting all the pallets off the outside of this that we put on last year to keep the pigs in, because this whole thing is getting took down, put back to field for the animals, and the new pig pen is getting built on the opposite side of that fence. So I just thought I'd get an hour on it while we've got an hour's left of light, see how far I got, but I was just going to get the rest of these pallets off. And then it'll be another day before I come down and take all these posts out and reel all the wire up, because that's a few hours job in all that, and fill all the holes in. I'm just filling the holes in. I've took a few posts out, so I'm just filling the holes in as I go along to stop the animals standing in them and doing themselves a damage. But should look spot on when it's done. Right, well, just cracking on, continuing on from yesterday. So I got all the pallets shifted yesterday, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to grind all this fence off, because I can't save it. It's been put too well on and half it's in the ground, so I just can't get it. I can't get the posts out without taking the fence off. So unfortunately we can't save any of the fence, but we're going to save all the posts, so there's a cost saving there. So a good few hours. I've got Jack down here helping us as well, doing what he can. We have managed, I was on the phone to a guy yesterday, so for our pig future moving forward, we've hopefully managed to secure 3 gilts for this year's pork harvest, which are Tamworths. So a bit more information on them close at the time, but I think the sow's due on the 10th of February, so the way looking at like the end of March to get them here on the Smallholding. So it's plenty of time to get all this down, which will be down by the end of the day the way we're going on, and to get the other pen built up for them. So once I get all this down, get all the wire tucked to the tip, I'm going to roughly measure out where the pigs are going to go, measure it out width and length, find out overall what square footage they're going to get, and then work on from there.
Keeping an eye on Madam in the distance because she's decided that she's deaf. As in exploring and taking no notice of us. The gate in between her and Dexter, our little steer, is unlocked. So I don't want to pushing her way through there and having a bit of an argument with him, which hopefully wouldn't happen, but you never know. Anyway, that aside, the reason that we have got in touch for the weaners already for the Tamworths is because in previous years, or where we've sort of ended up getting to, is we've been a little bit reactive to thinking, oh my goodness, we should have weaners by now, and then we haven't booked them in early enough. So we've gone back to somebody that we got them for previously. It was the large blacks, I think, that we got them from. Stephen's nodding, that we got from the same chap, and he said, yeah, absolutely fantastic, really pleased that we're looking for 3. So nice to be able to get things planned in, and that's going to be the theme for this year. Our 10th year, we're actually going to do things properly. Well, I've come inside to the dry of the barn, although it's still super damp air conditions. It's raining outside, so I feel sorry for Stephen and Jack, who cannot wait to get that job finished. Stephen wanted it done this weekend so that he wasn't going into another week without it done. So being him, he's on it until it's finished, come hell or high water. So anyway, it doesn't look like it's going to take too long, but yeah, it's not a nice job. And it's just another example of how we just try and make sure that once we set ourselves something to do, we just try and achieve it. And that's why sensible planning, realistic planning is really key. So one thing that's on my list that I also don't want to do, but I've got no excuse because I'm in the dry at least, is for the annual kind of sort out of the tack room, or we call it the tack room. It's not really a tack room now, it's more just a storeroom in the barn. Things end up in here getting stacked, and you know, we think it's neat at the time, and as time goes on, it just gets worse and worse. So I'm not going to bore you and do like a time lapse or anything like that, but this is what I'm working on now, and then at least I can say I've managed to get something productive done today for the small holding as well.
Right, well that's all done. Been round, tidied everything up. He's Dexter to come and check his new area out.
It's like, there used to be a fence here.
So we've been round, double checked, filled in all the holes, so hopefully there'll be no tripping and breaking any legs. Seems like someone likes the new room anyway.
Yeah.
It's turned out to be a productive weekend.
That's probably our cue to leave.
They're nice. Right, it's Monday evening and we're cracking on again with the library renovation. So we got the half in at the weekend, Saturday, that's been down for a couple of days now, so it's gone off, it's rock solid, super happy with that, it's all level, gives us a solid structure to build off, so that'll be nice to set some farmhouse flagstones or whatever we decide to put down there as the hearth. So the next problem we need to solve is these corners, because whoever had it previously has just knocked them out and smashed them all to bits. So I had two choices, either build it up or rip it out. So I didn't really want to rip it out from there. You can see the natural gap, but it might compromise the integrity of the chimney breast itself inside. So the solution we've come up with is this, whether it's the right way to do it or not. So I've made a couple of moulds like this. So I've already put one on that side. So the idea is we'll screw them to the actual bricks in there, screw them to the bricks out here, get them all level like we've done with this one, and then pour some concrete and aggregate in there, so then when we take them off it should create a solid nice square column, because we're going to board it out anyway. We just need something for the boarding to bond across, and for it to grip I'll give all that a good coat of PVA, and I'm going to screw half a dozen screws into the brickwork like that, just for gives the concrete something to bond to. I've already done it in that one, put that on, it's all solid, ready to go, and I'm happy with it, it works. So I've just recreate it on this side. We'll get that screwed on. It won't be getting concreted tonight though, that might be a tomorrow night's job. I don't fancy mixing concrete at 8 o'clock at night. So we'll get that on and then that'll do. Wednesday night, still cracking on with the fireplace, so tonight I'm going to pour the concrete. So I've got the ballast, the concrete, got all them in last night, they're all solid, they won't come out. I was going to seal it in around the edges, just in case there was any seepage, but I think I've got it pretty tight up against the wall, that it should be alright. I'm not going to make it that runny. So I just thought, I've got my neighbour coming round and give us a hand pour it, so I thought I'll make that just to sit on there, and then one of us can pour it in there, and hopefully it'll fill up nice to the top and be solid by Thursday. He's hoping anyway. Couple of jobs to do tonight. Last night we managed to successfully get all the concrete poured into them moulds, so we're just going to leave that for a couple of nights to cure. So the first job on tonight is to candle these duck eggs. They've been in here now for 7 days, so we should be able to see if they're fertile or not. These are to replenish our old flock of ducks that we've got out there. We tried to do it last year and we only ended up with 3 ducks. So a really disappointing success rate. So hopefully these are going to be better than that.
Good. Good. There's more veins than that.
Well, as you can see, we've turned the incubator off and every one of them's a dud. So we weren't expecting great things because unfortunately we lost one of our males last year, so we only had one left and he is getting old. So obviously he's not doing his job. Obviously the female's doing the job by laying the eggs, he's not doing his job. So it looks like we're going to have to go back to square one. We're going to have to talk about what we need to do next with our flock of ducks moving forward, unfortunately. But on a bit more positive note, off that bit of disappointment, at least we're going to get some wild meat to go in the freezer. So we're out the weekend, these have been hanging in the fridge since the weekend. Got a couple of wild mallards there, drakes, and a couple of nice big brown hares. So I'm going to get on with processing them, ready for the meat to go into the game pie mix, which is going to go in the freezer for the foreseeable.
Well, now Stephen's done all the hard work, I get the easier job of just getting all this into freezer bags and labelled up and put into the freezer. So this is what we're left with. All of this meat here is off the back legs of the hare, and then we've got some absolutely beautiful, don't want to touch it too much, and back straps, which are going to be super tender, a beautiful meat. And then on this side we have got the 4 breasts of the mallards. If you've never tried wild duck before, I'm not a big fan of really strong gamey tastes, but this is beautiful, and it went in the game pie that we made on New Year's Eve absolutely fabulously. So loads of meat there that we're going to be able to make use out of over the coming weeks and months. It freezes fantastically too, so I'm going to get all of this bagged up and put in the freezer nice and quickly whilst it's still cold.
Where's the moment of truth? It's been 48 hours, so it's time to take these moulds off and see what we're working with. I'm dreading it. Right. That's alright, Nigel. Nice flat surface to on some stuff to. Pretty solid. Looking good. Let's get the next one off. Hope it's the same. Right, this one was a bit worse. There was more bricks knocked out in this one, so there was a bit more to fill. So we'll have to see what it's like. Oh, cool. Just grind that little edge off there, probably, if I need to, but I don't think... Well, I might not even have to, actually. That's pretty solid. If anything else is holding the house up a bit better. So, looking good.
It's finally Friday night. What a long week it's been, but at the same token, it's gone by really, really quickly. So we are just about ready to sit down and have some home cooked food tonight. I've got some pork mince out of the freezer. I was going to do a sausage meat quiche, but then Jack came down and said, can I make some sausage rolls? And I'm never going to turn down somebody wanting to do their own food. So he's made some sausage rolls, and with the other packs, I got 2 packs out. We do tend to do 500 gram packs in the freezer. So with the other pack, I'm going to make some meatballs, just some big giant meatballs. And I'm going to try and stuff them with some cheddar. So that's the idea, or at least in my head, that's what I'm thinking. So we'll see what turns out. The other thing I've done, I've been and grabbed some what looks like broth out of the freezer. It's actually not, it's apple juice from our own apples. We've got about 15 litres, I think. I don't know if it was last year or the year before now, they're all blending into one. Either way, it still tastes absolutely fantastic. So we've got that out to go with a breakfast that we do on a Saturday. And that's one more thing getting used from the freezer as well. We are trying to make our way through the freezer, because another thing that we're trying to plan for this year is to make sure that we plan ahead for the meat that's going into the freezer, rather than it being a panic and thinking, oh my goodness, we haven't got enough space. Because previously we did have one bigger extra freezer, the chest freezers, and we got rid of that. So we really have to be staying on top of it. That broke and we never replaced it. So yeah, managing the freezers that's a job in itself sometimes. So getting through the apple juice, we're having one every weekend on a Saturday as kind of a treat with a breakfast, and also through the weeks making sure that we're going through and rotating the meat. We've had some beautiful lamb dishes that you might have seen at the beginning of this video this week, and just literally can put those in the bottom of the Argo, which is effectively a slow cooker, and just leave them all day, and it's so tender and delicious. I never used to be a lamb lover before we started raising our own. Really enjoy it now, so full cycle appreciation there. Anyway, I'm going to get on with these meatballs, and then once they're in, we're going to go and have a sit down. I think we will sleep tonight. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the next video. We've got a busy weekend ahead, but it is due to rain again all weekend. So tonight we're going to have some simple pork meatballs. It's only Stephen and I that are going to be eating. We've just got 1 duck egg in with some pork mince seasonings. We've got sage, some of the aromat seasoning that I use, and some porridge oats at the moment. I'm going to get all that mixed together and just make some meatballs that I can actually stuff with some cheddar and some of our homemade cranberry mustard. I think that'll be absolutely delicious. I'm also going to pop in some leeks and mushrooms somehow. I'm not sure if that needs to be in the sauce or if I can put that in the meatball mixture, but either way it'll be included, because I'm really fancying some of those. And Miss Annie, hello Annie, hello, is just laying in front of the Argo so that I have to step over to be able to get to the pan. So there we go, cranberry mustard is just laid literally on the patty, which I'm going to turn into a meatball in a moment, and just add in, rather crudely, some cheese in the middle. So let's see what they turn out like. No idea how these are going to turn out, never done them before. I'm just going to give them a little drizzle of the chili oil that we got. Oops, that was more than a drizzle. So was that right? Let's just match you then. There we go. They should be tasty. Obviously, they're not standard size meatballs. They're absolutely huge. So I'll have 1, Stephen will have 2. And I didn't get the leeks and mushrooms in there because it was going to be too wet. So I'm going to make just a bit of a tomato sauce to go with them. We're not that hungry tonight, so there's no need for a big elaborate meal. That'll be more than enough for us.